the equation E is equal mc square, in which energy is put equal to mass multiplied with the square of the velocity of light, showed that very small amount of mass may be converted into a very large amount of energy, and vice versa. The mass and energy were in fact equivalent, according to the formula mentioned above. This was demonstrated by Kokras and Walton in 1932 experimentally.
You've got it right here. S4 with E squared in conjunction with Spaced Out Radio.
Alien contact. S4. UFOs. Bigfoot. 9/11. Grays. The Illuminati. Cover-ups. RH negative blood. What are they hiding from
Sorry, your call cannot be completed as dialed.
Now, the men behind the mics, Forest Moon Paranormal's Eric Cooper and the SOR Spacewire's Eric Markham. You can find more at spacedoutradio.com.
Remain seated, please. Permanecer sentados, por favor.
Now, let's travel into the universe. It's S4 with E squared.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to S4. This is Eric Cooper of Forest Moon Paranormal and S4. The opinions and views in S4 do not reflect that of Spaced Out Radio, which is our umbrella affiliate. Make sure you check out Spaced Out Radio every night, 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to midnight with Dave Scott, www.spacedoutradio.com. And they are the voice, as is S4, of Forest Moon Paranormal, the emergency management response team for the paranormal. If you haven't found us yet, go on Facebook, and that's the only place we run is on Facebook. That's where all the clients are. So, tonight, Markham is no longer with me because, he had issues and isn't going to make it anymore. I'm shopping for a co-host to fill in until such time he can come back. So tonight we're going to discuss first of all, tonight we're going to discuss should there be a code of conduct in the paranormal field, and we're going to go over the Forest Moon Paranormal's code of conduct because it's pretty cut and dried and covers everything. And we're going to do some ranting about, what the paranormal field is in perception and where it should be. And some of the ideas and things we're going to be implementing within Forest Moon anyway. And probably set the standard with Spaced Out Radio and the paranormal team that they're putting together, which we'll be working in conjunction with. And good evening, Shar, Trippin, and Corey. Good to see you here. Always a pleasure. And so, yeah, as I just stated, yeah, we are shopping for a co-host. We're kind of looking at some ideas with S4 and where we want to go because we can blow this up out of the water easily. Um, anyway, to begin with, March 1st, we are submitting our documentation for state nonprofit endorsement. Once we get that, then we will be submitting for federal, which is going to make us 501c3. Now, with that, I'll be drafting a business letter once that's done and approaching all pagan shops and all paranormal shops for either endorsement, sponsorship, or, I haven't decided where I want to take that just yet. So just some ideas I'm tossing around. Um, and with that, we'll be running a homeless closet. We'll be doing some community resource type stuff and expanding. So I'm getting to my dates here. So March 10th, if you're local to the concrete community, March every second Friday of the month, which is March 10th next month, 11 a.m. at the Lone Star Restaurant, we'll be doing paranormal discussion. I kind of noticed that QRT, which is our quick reactionary team, the training for that was taking over the paranormal discussion. So I decided to do 2 days a month. One for QRT training, which we'll get to, and the second, the other one, the second Friday of the month, we'll do paranormal discussion, 11 a.m. Lone Star. The training is going to be alternating. This month is going to be paranormal protection, which covers shielding, grounding your energy, herbs, stones, anything related to paranormal protection will be covered March 11th. That starts at 3 p.m. at the Concrete Community Center. Now, also March 19th, we've been invited or asked to come down to Lakewood, Washington to the Mystic Sanctuary. Basically, Mystic Sanctuary is a shop, and he's been having customers come in and either having paranormal issues or just interested in the paranormal. So he approached us and he asked us to come down and do a basic paranormal beginner's course. I have a feeling it's going to be more a question and answer period. I will have a presentation to do, but if it turns out that people just have questions, then by all means we'll answer the questions. But basically, I'm going to do a basic what's the difference between a ghost and entity, where do demons fit in, cover a little bit of UFO and alien if that's an interest, as well as Bigfoot, and then go into paranormal protection, which we're covering anyway this month. So that's kind of going to be an interesting course. That one costs $10, and that goes to the store. The store is charging, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. So tonight was supposed to be Earth Changes, HARP, and Geoengineering. I'm going to be, yes, Ronald, it's S4. This is the S4 show. Tonight was supposed to be HARP, Earth Changes, Geoengineering, and because I don't have a co-host, I like hitting the very deep topics with a co-host. That way it brings in, we can sit and discuss stuff, basically from a scientific point of view, because naturally Markham's a scientist, which is why I changed the topic up. But March 5th, Robert Rose will be here co-hosting next weekend. And we're talking, are gods really aliens, and where did religion come from? It's going to be a kind of a hot topic, but that's okay. We like hot topics. That's why we're S4. And then again, March 10th, 11 a.m. public paranormal discussion at the Lone Star. The 10th rather. The 11th is QRT training. March 12th, we're going to start a series, Ancient Aliens. and it's probably going to run 3 different shows. We'll see how it goes. We're going to kind of hit Zechariah Sitchin, Eric Von Daniken, more or less along the lines their theories, and see where it goes. The 19th is, like I said, the paranormal class at Mystic Sanctuary in Lakewood. That starts at 5:30, by the way. If you go on the Forest Moon Paranormal Facebook group, you will find the links to all that stuff and all the updates that I'm talking about now. So March 19th is also a Sunday, and I probably won't make it back in time for the show. So we will reschedule Ancient Aliens 2 for the following Sunday, which is the 26th, and we'll just bump the shows up because the 26th is supposed to be Pine Gap, Australia versus Area 51 USA and what they're doing. April 2nd is going to be NWO, Government Elite, Bilderbergs, and Corrupt Corporations. April 8th. Let's talk about April 8th for a second. That's our QRT next training. We're doing that at the Northern State Dairy. Now, in the Northern State, for those who don't know, is in Cedar Woolley, Washington. It's going to be, it used to be a mental hospital, very experimental mental hospital, extremely haunted. And, I'm not much of a let's run to haunted locations, but for training purposes, it's always great because you can get the new people's feet wet. We're going to be talking, excuse me, paranormal equipment. We're going to go test out paranormal equipment. So Corey's saying we can do it on Saturdays, and Dave and I from Spaced Out Radio talked about that. We'll discuss it. We'll discuss it offline. There's options we can do. But Northern State, we're going to test out equipment, do an equipment class, and it's going to be a twofold. We're going to make it a barbecue, and that'll be fun. But basically, to allow our team to test out their protection measures that they've been taking. Yeah, Andy, experimental mental hospital. Yeah, there's actually underground tunnels and things underneath Northern State where they actually did experiments. And we're talking back in the 60s, 50s, 70s, where, the lobotomy was, oh, wow, let's play with the brain. Not good. Not good at all. So you can imagine the spirits there, and you're guaranteed to get an apparition picture go in there, or even an EVP. EVPs and apparitions are common. I've got one. So that's where we're going. We're going to have our team test out their protection and make sure they don't come out with attachments. April 9th is we're talking Montauk Project. April 16th is the Alphabet Soup Agencies and the Secret Government. April 23rd, Presidential Secrets, Who Saw What. April 30th, I'm talking to Native Americans. I want to hear Native American lore and the paranormal. And May 7th, what do you do if there's an alien invasion? That's where we're going to actually talk about survival skills, the weaknesses of alien races, that kind of thing. May 13th, QRT training. Location is not set just yet, but that is going to be our wilderness survival. Why is wilderness survival important in the paranormal field? I get asked that. And so we discussed this in Spaced Out Radio, I think it was last year. And for those that don't know who I am, I've got 20 years Army. I've done 4 combat tours. Been in the paranormal my entire life. And Forest Moon Paranormal is been around for a little over 10 years. I've been in the UFO alien abduction field for over 20. We have an astral team. They've been active for about 5. So I mean, and when I define paranormal, I'm talking hauntings, ghosts. Sure, everyone sees that as paranormal, but I also UFOs, alien abduction, alien interaction, Bigfoot, Dogman, any of the cryptid fields. And then you discuss conspiracies. Well, conspiracies intertwine with the paranormal all the time. So to me, that's the paranormal, and then of course everything in between. Um, so why would wilderness survival skills, which covers first aid, it covers land navigation, everything to do with wilderness survival. So you look at paranormal TV, which is the downfall of the paranormal field, in my opinion. Um, it should be labeled entertainment because many people look at it as a docudrama or a documentary, and they think it's fact. It's not fact. Most of those teams and groups that sit there and do paranormal TV are doing it for ratings. They're doing it because the network wants ratings. And you got a director that kicks a rock. Oh wow, did you hear that? Uh, yeah, okay, the director kicked a rock. Um, and it's great entertainment. Don't get me wrong. I don't watch the crap, but if you're into it, yeah, it's great entertainment, whatever. But then you've got every Tom, Dick, and Harry that looks cool. That's how they do it. And they get their little buddies together, they make some business cards, and get a cool T-shirt with RIP on it, or whatever uh, crazy acronym they can come up with, and they've got them a team. Well, the reason we're an emergency response team is because half of it is because of these groups. We handle 4 to 5 cases a day and that's on a medium day. I mean, we do have days where we don't get any cases. That's good. That is actually good. I'm happy with that. Because then the next day we have 5 cases. And then we might have a day or two where we might have 1 case. And that's fine. But on the average, we have probably about 10 cases a week. And about half of these are because, some Mickey Mouse group went in and they got their little picture and their little EVP, and then they saw something that terrified them and they ran out. Or they went in, they got their cute little picture and, their nice little EVP, and pissed off the spirit because they, harassed it. And now you've got a client that is terrified even more because they've been told, yes, you are haunted. They've been confirmed. And now what? This group just left. They didn't remove it. They didn't pass over the spirit. They didn't kick out the entity. They just left. And then I get a phone call from a client that's in tears and terrified, and staying in a hotel because they're too terrified to stay in their home. And we're a quick response. When it comes down to it, as soon as I get a message, and I'm usually on Facebook, this is my full-time job. As soon as I get the message, I've got a team member contacting them within 10 minutes, generally speaking, if it's during the day. If it's late at night, it takes a little longer to find somebody that's awake when it comes to the astral side of it. So we can usually clear out from start to finish just a basic case, nothing extreme, within probably an hour. And we'll get to all this with the code of conduct, because we'll be getting at the code of conduct portion here shortly. So when it comes to training, oh, I did. You know what? I'm getting sidetracked here. Wilderness survival. Why is it important? It's important because, again, there's the paranormal TV that I brought up. So you've got these mountain monster hunters and stuff like that, and so now you got the same Tom, Dick, and Harry that wants to go up and look for Bigfoot. Well, you know what? On TV, they were just wearing khaki shorts, and they didn't have nothing with them but a camera crew. Well, let's go up in the mountains, look for Bigfoot. Now you got somebody that's potentially going to get lost, going to get hurt in the mountains, and put search and rescue at risk, trying to find some knucklehead that decided to go look for Bigfoot and didn't know what he was doing, or any other cryptid for that matter. Hey, Joe. It's Joe with the pointy sticks. I'm glad to see Joe here. And our Aussie crew is here. We have a regular fan base that comes into our chat room every Sunday night, and I'm always excited to see them all here. It's awesome. And they come up with some very unique questions sometimes. Um, but yeah, so that's why mountain rescue is important, because so we are an emergency response team. We are taking it one step further with a quick reactionary team. In that, being military, if I get a phone call, I should be able to pick up my phone roster, and we'll go over the protocols of the QRT later on in the show. But basically, I should be able to pick up my phone and activate the phone roster, and everybody should be ready to roll within minutes. So we get a phone call about a cryptid sighting, or someone's in danger involving this cryptid sighting, and my team gets lost. My team gets separated. They should all know exactly what to do when it comes to being in the mountains. That's why, to me, mountain rescue or mountain survival, wilderness survival is important. And it's going to be taught in May. It may or may not be taught up here on my farm. But so, what kind of training should a team go through to be qualified? Because there is no set standard. Like I said, anyone can jump up and say, "I want to be a ghost hunter." I'm not a ghost hunter. I'm a paranormal investigator. Big difference, because what I investigate entails a lot more than just picking up a little toy and going into a house. And I don't do it for science, because I'm not a scientist. That's why we have Markham. Eric Markham is our scientist. And that's another thing we're going to be including in our training, is the proper procedure to obtain evidence. Because even I learned a lot at Roundtable. If you haven't listened to the Roundtable on Spaced Out Radio, we do it every last Friday of the month. And I mean, we got into some pretty heavy discussion this last Friday on the Roundtable, where we actually talked about code of conduct and science. I do have another scientist on the team. Her name is Karen, and she is a meteorological scientist. And we actually haven't met and talked yet, but she is part of our team, and we will be going to her house actually and investigating, using her place for training, because she has orbs there every day. So part of our training we've already done. We did it last month actually. Well, actually this month. It is still February, and we'll be going over it tonight again for those that missed it. But it's paranormal ethics, SOP, and protocol. Dangers of the paranormal and safety. We're not going to really hit that tonight, but we will go over the code of conduct. Again in March is psychic protection, grounding and shielding, herbs and stones, use and defense. And again, I'll be teaching that March 19th at Mystic Sanctuary. And I see, yeah. So to me, that's important, along with the equipment. Equipment and how to properly do an investigation. And we'll be hitting that at Northern State in April. And then is wilderness survival. And then in June, ideally I want to stand up the QRT in July, and we're going to actually have a ceremony for that stand up. And so in July I'm going to wrap everything else up. It'll probably take about a day, and it'll end with a written test. Yes, I'm doing a test. And then after the written test is done, if they pass, if they don't pass, then we'll have to go over some stuff, and they'll take it again. But it'll be about a 100-question written test. I want these guys and gals to know what the hell they're doing when we're getting into quick reaction. And the astral team. Yes, there are 2 personnel from the astral team that are part of the QRT. And ideally, we'll get to that. I'm jumping the gun. Paracon. Let's discuss Paracon. So Paracon 2017 is going to be up here in Concrete, Washington. Location not locked in, so I'm not going to mention it just yet. But September 23rd. Mark that out on your calendars. Make sure you're here. I already have 2 or 3 vendors that are possibly already locking in. Tickets for Roundtable are $30 this year. I raised it up $5. I'm trying to basically just comp what we put into it because the Paracon itself is free. You look at you look at all these groups and we're gonna have a Paracon for $150 a lecture. Yeah, okay. You know what? Never mind. I don't believe in paying. And one thing about Forest Moon, we don't charge for, well, anything. We accept donations, but we never ask for them. That's only if they're offered. Because I don't believe anyone that's going through an emergency or a crisis should have to pay to get their situation fixed. And to me, that's unethical. So, everything we do is free and it's completely confidential. And so, again, Paracon is free. And we close it out with a roundtable. And roundtable will last about 2 hours. It'll be at the Lone Star Restaurant, but only open for those that get VIP roundtable tickets, and they're $30. Get them locked in because it's only open to 30 people. We keep it very limited. If you want to vend, I'm looking for vendors. Tables for vending is $30 for a sales table. That's if you're doing a reading or if you're selling anything, it's $30. Information table is $20. Unless you're taking donations, then it's going to be $30. And that'll pay for the Paracon. So who's speaking? Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio is going to be talking media and the paranormal. Christina George. Yes, Christina's coming back. She's awesome. She's from Paranormal Connections in California. She's talking connecting the paranormal dots. Eric Markham will be here from the Spaced Out Radio Newswire. He's talking science and the paranormal. Tyler Allen Standing Bear is going to be talking about the life of Bigfoot. He's my resident Bigfoot specialist here in Forest Moon. I'll be talking alien abduction and the history of alien abduction and, well, the signs and symptoms and what do you do. I don't know what you do yet, but we'll figure that out. We got SJ and Russ Wells from Fog Paranormal, being a medium in a paranormal world. Got Mike Morin. He's coming from the Canadian Paranormal Society, using the tools of paranormal investigation. We also have 4 workshops. I'm not going to get into them just yet because they're not completely locked in. And we're going to have the QRT truck on a static display. And the Canadian Paranormal Society is going to have their table set up. We also have oh hell, I don't have his name on there. Yeah, we're doing spirit box demonstrations. So I'm looking here. Yeah, actually, Mike Warren's talking paranormal investigation and the ethics of the paranormal. So let's talk. Anyone? Yeah. Hauser, there you go, Trippin. Thank you. Oh, I feel stupid. I should have known that. Yeah, Bill Hauser's talking spirit box. He's not doing a lecture or anything, but he's going to be doing spirit box workshops. Now, so our Paracon is the 23rd. The 29th is the Spaced Out Radio Paracon. And more will be released on that. I'm just bringing that up. Don't miss it. Dave's putting together one hell of a show. So why is a code of conduct important? Anyone? Anyone? Yeah. So the code of conduct to me is highly important because, well, look at the news, look around, and yeah, you hear about this TV personality from this paranormal show went to jail. This TV personality from this paranormal TV show went to jail. Um, you know, yeah, you're right, Tripp, and it's all about respect. It's about respecting both the spirit and the client. Um, so personal conduct, and I'm going to read you straight off the Forest Moon's code of conduct because it's pretty tight. It's pretty complete. We cover every aspect. The use of intoxicants is strictly prohibited on FMP investigations. This includes the use of prescription drugs as well as recreational drugs and alcohol that may impair your judgment or behavior. Any member found to be involved in an investigation while under the influence will be dismissed from the team immediately. Yeah, it protects everyone, and protects everyone, including the spirits, because of the fact that the minute you come into an investigation with any kind of impairment, one, you're open to attachments. It's disrespectful for your client. It's yeah, you're putting your whole team at risk. And Joe is saying a code of conduct is important because it promotes moral behavior, acts as a guideline for ethical decision making, enhances the reputation of the organization, prevents negative legal effects, encourages positive relationships, acts as a reference for solving ethical dilemmas. Outstanding, Joe. It does. So yeah, and you know, even if you've, um, yeah, I'm reading Trippin. Yeah, I can't remember the names, Trippin. I can't remember who it was that went to jail. But when it comes to impairment, I mean, if you're sick and you take NyQuil, if you take NyQuil, to me you're impaired. For one, you shouldn't be at an investigation sick anyway because you're weak or you're the weakest link. So yeah, when it comes to if you're sick and you're taking cold suppressants whatnot, you're still impaired. Stay home. Next, there'd be no smoking of cigarettes during investigation except at predetermined locations. One, again, that's for respect of your client. Even if the client smokes in their house, I don't like to smoke around the client other than outside. For one, again, the respect of the client. For two, if you're not careful, you take pictures of the location, the smoke can interfere, and you'll say, "Oh wow, look, I got me a spirit." Yeah, way wrong answer. Members are not to make or accept personal calls during an investigation. Cell phones may be used during an investigation only for official purposes, such as contacting other members of the team or using investigation-related applications. So again, respect. Um, I don't mind the use of applications or these ghost apps, but and we discussed it on Space Star Radio in that a lot of these apps that you're having on electronic equipment are compromised because I can't remember the names of all the equipment because we really don't use much equipment, but you know. So you put this app on your laptop, your tablet, your cell phone, and it spits out words that the spirit's supposed to be talking about. And you don't know if that app is actually pulling information off your hard drive and using words in your hard drive to spit out words, So, oh wow, it said Bernice. Yeah, well, isn't Bernice your mother-in-law? And You know, she's got files on your hard drive. So, you know, uh, and not to mention the interferences from electronics with apps and whatnot. Yeah, I don't mind them using them, but I also would like confirmation from a medium or psychic along with the history of the location to verify information for apps. So again, weapons are prohibited on investigations unless previously approved by the team's lead investigator. And, you know, there actually might be cases where we might have one person that is legally authorized to carry a weapon. And that's for the protection of the team. The team's protection is about most important. You don't know what kind of house you're walking into when you go to a crisis case, or what kind of mindset your client is in walking into a client's house. So I'm all about weapons, but only in the right hands. Um, and it also depends on what kind of case. If we're going up in the mountains looking for cryptids or anything like that, then yeah. So Forest Moon Paranormal is a team of diversity and recognizes that different investigators have varying religious and spiritual beliefs and practices. Before participating in an investigation, each investigator is asked to take a moment to use their preferred method of self-protection to avoid attachments from the investigation site. Again, we'll be teaching that next month. But what it breaks down to is, we're pagan at the core, but we do have Christians, we do have Catholics, we have Baptists, we have Buddhists. We're a variety of religious beliefs. So what it boils down to for protection, you pray to whatever deity you follow, whether it's Christian God, whether it's Allah, because if you're Muslim, whether it's Morrigan in my case, you know, and it's pretty cut and dry. Then of course you got your shielding, and yeah, tripping. We're getting to that. You're jumping the gun. In our case, in our code of conduct, it's written. No one. It's pairs of two at least. There should be no one alone in a client's house. Period. One that protects you. In case something comes up missing, there were two of you. When it comes to sexual harassment, it protects you. There's a whole lot of cases, a whole lot of situations that it protects you from when you walk in teams of two. You fall down, get hurt, your buddy's there. The safety of investigators is of great importance. More than anything, trust your instincts and exercise common sense. If it isn't safe, don't do it. So, that's our personal conduct code of conduct. Now, investigations and team conduct. The team leader will secure permission in writing from the owner of the property before any team member will enter the property or begin an investigation. Okay, so, Sharp brings up a good point. Who do pagans pray to? Well, you know what? Depends on what kind of pagan you are. Whether you're Wiccan, whether you're a witch, whether you're Druid. For me, I follow Morrigan. Morrigan is the Celtic goddess of war. She's also the goddess of death and rebirth. And when it trips, we get in this discussion. In fact, we just got in this discussion, I think, yesterday with another pagan group. People say death and they think, oh, that's a dark deity. Not really. Actually, as a warrior and as a soldier, you would follow a warrior deity. So I have a goddess and a god. My god is Kyrninos, and he's the what many pagans see as the horned god, and he's the god of the forest, of the hunt. So yeah, most deities or most pagans have their own. No, 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 no. So Shar thought all pagans were the same belief. No, 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 no. So pagan is basically, to our definition, an umbrella for a whole lot of different traditions. Just like Christianity is an umbrella for a whole lot of traditions. You've got Baptists, you've got Lutherans, you've got Methodists, you've got, Foursquare, and they grow. They're growing daily. You've got all these other, we're the magi of the Bible church. So you've got all kinds of different Christian beliefs. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of different pagan beliefs. Me, I'm a witch, just a witch. I'm not Wiccan, just a witch. There's a saying, because Wicca is actually a fairly new belief system, and I'm not trying to turn this into a religious discussion because it's paranormal. But so Wicca was established in the 40s, 50s. Well, 1947, I believe it was. And no, actually, Corey, Muslim is not Christian, but it is not pagan. It is Muslim. Buddhist is not pagan. It's Buddhist. So, no, we define paganism as any earth-based religious belief, or belief, not even religious, that is generally polytheistic by nature, meaning they have a goddess and a god, because in our belief, you can't have one without the other for balance, just like good and evil. You can't have one without the other. Goddess and god. You can't have male without female, or vice versa. There are exceptions to those rules. Some pagans don't have a deity. They work with energy. They work with elements. They work with fairies. So I mean, it's very varied. And but no, as far as pagan is basically anything that's not Christian, that's incorrect because Muslims are not Christian and they aren't pagan either. Satanists to me are not pagan. Um, if you want to get technical, Satanism is the counterpart to Christianity because it's Christianity that made Satan. There are Muslims and there are Muslim or what's the word? Middle Eastern traditions, Zoroastria, for example, um, that do follow Satan. So, yeah. So anyway, getting back to code of conduct, the team leader will secure permission in writing from the owner of the property before any team member will enter the property or begin an investigation. Generally, with our team, obviously we're invited because, well, this person's in crisis. They call us panicky. So that's just a blanket statement, though, to cover everybody. Because when it boils down to, and we will have documents. We have the client sign that gives us permission to come in. If we go to a public location, for example, law enforcement will be contacted, but we'll get to that. I'm probably jumping my own gun here. So if an investigation takes place of public or government-owned property, the team leader will notify local law enforcement of the team's presence. That goes without saying. They don't, and not to mention, you know what? Most of the time, we're not going to be doing nighttime stuff anyway, because that's another TV misconcept. Spirits are always here. It doesn't matter what time of the day it is. 12 o'clock's not the witching hour. That's not why we do S4 at midnight. Yeah, that's come up. um, I would say the most active time is 3 a.m., to be honest with you. Because I've seen more cases where more activity starts at 3 a.m. versus midnight. But spirits are around you all the time. It doesn't matter. You can do an investigation during the daytime and get just as much activity as as at night. So will we ever actually be on public land at night? Probably not. Client confidentiality is of utmost importance. Cases are not to be discussed outside of the team. No team member will include information about a case in a publication, in print, voice, digital, or any other form without expressed written consent from the client. That's a no-brainer. That's a good way to get in legal trouble. If you go talking about a case by name, and I won't even bring up state. And yeah, you're right, Trippin. Trippin saying it seems to be when most deaths occur, and I would agree with that. I'm not even talking deaths. So 3 a.m. is when you hear, knocks. or footsteps or things of that nature. Not here. Our home's shielded. I mean, completely shielded. We don't have anything go out here. So, to avoid confusion, most, if not all, communication with the client will be through the team leader. The team leader will maintain an open line of communication with the client to ensure the client's satisfaction with the handling of the case, as well as to maintain availability should a problem reoccur after the close of the investigation. To me, there honestly is no close. We talk to clients from a year or two ago. If they have anything that reoccurs, they've got our phone number. We're working a case right now that's pretty extreme, and I don't see them ever. I don't see that ever completely closing. It should, but they have a lot going on. And if you have a whole lot going on in the neighborhood, 10 to 1 is going to come back to you. So, I mean, unless we were to clear out the entire neighborhood, which, well, without the consent of neighbors, not going to happen, obviously. And the main reason for that particular rule that we put in was so we have 5 people on the team, and it's happened in the past with the Astral group or the Astral team. And now you've got 3 people talking to the client with different questions, and clients get kind of tired of talking to 3 different people. So rather than that, just have the team lead talk to the client. If they got questions, then the team will address them to the team lead, which in the Astral team case, it is Tony. So all members of the team are to behave in a professional manner, treat the client as well as any spirits or entities present with respect and dignity. And that goes without saying. Paranormal TV, it bends a lot of us. You don't disrespect spirits. They used to be alive. And for example, watch the movie The Others with Nicole Kidman. Now, the best example of spirits that don't know they passed on. And what we do is many times we can mediate, and that's where you explain to the spirit that they're terrifying this family, that they have actually passed on, and oftentimes you can mediate with them and come to an agreement or an arrangement between the client and the spirit. And then, if the client's okay, the spirit can stay. Otherwise, most spirits do pass on. And in some cases, where it's a very aggressive spirit, you have to force them over. And that can be done. We do it all the time. So within the paranormal community at large, sometimes there can be disagreements between members of different groups. In order to prevent Forest Moon Paranormal from contributing to the problem, team members are asked to refrain from engaging in arguments with those from other groups and refer any conflict of the team to the team leader. And like I told them in the class when we did the class, and that also comes with slander. If you hear any slander against Forest Moon, I need to know ASAP, because I will deal with it. Dealt with it before. Any case that involves a child, herein defined as any persons under the age of 18. A parent must be present at any time a team member discusses the investigation with a child. Or if it comes down to you're asking questions and getting the child's side of things, a parent must be with that child at all times, along with 2 team members. Any evidence collected for further scientific analysis is to be carefully collected with gloves, bagged and labeled with detailed information to be shipped to the appropriate scientific facility. Markham. Yeah. And I will be getting, in fact, I sent Markham a message yesterday. I'd like a detailed list of what we need for our evidence collection kits, as well as a standard for how to properly collect evidence. And then it'll get shipped right to them. And that'll be part of our training for the QRT as well, probably in June. So teams and team members are never to charge for services. And that comes back full circle, in Forest Moon Paranormal in the group, I actually had this guy say, yeah, I'm with so-and-so, and if you mention this article, we'll take $60 off our next house cleansing for you. Really? How much do they charge? I've got to ask. You know, you're going to take off $60? Wow. Yeah, they got deleted and blocked. I don't play that game. So, team conduct in the paranormal. All team members are to treat spirits, cryptids, and other paranormal beings with respect and dignity. That goes without saying. Unless there's an actual, your life's physically in danger, then that's a whole different, that takes it to a different level. In cases involving cryptids, team members will not harm the cryptid except in cases where their own or others' lives are in imminent danger. Team members are not to deliberately provoke or antagonize spirits or entities. That's again a no-brainer. So Forest Moon Paranormal exists to serve not only the client but also the spirits involved as well. Whenever possible, teams are to respectfully help spirits to move on or find a way for the spirit to exist peacefully with the client. And lastly, Forest Moon Paranormal recognizes the importance of utilizing mediums and others with psychic abilities in the field. However, when possible, team members are to verify as much information as possible using mundane sources, such as historical records and equipment readings. How you doing, Mario? It's always good to see new faces come in here. No, you're not too late. We just went over the code of conduct. And why is there a need for a code of conduct in the paranormal field? So I'm going to go over QRT protocol real quick. This is how the QRT is going to set up a shop. So step one, the call comes in. Alert roster gets activated. Actually, before I even activate the alert roster, I'm going to activate the astral team's alert roster, and that's to call Tony and Jamie. They'll establish a rally point, which in our case, depending on, and this is, the QRT is a local team. It's not, if everything runs smoothly in 2018, I'll probably set it up to where other areas could set up their own QRT based on our training and our code of conduct and whatnot. They could set up their own team. But basically, if the case is here upriver in concrete, our rally point will be at the local gas station. We check our gear. We establish our shields. We run through the game plan, basically. Well, how we're going to handle this case. Step 2 is scene security. You make initial client contact. You assess the scene, assess it for safety. And, client psychiatric. Basically, the astral team is going to be the first ones in. If they don't see anything, they're going to give me a phone call and say, look, based on what they're saying is going on, there's nothing here. And, well, we might get a little more discussion with that client because if there's not an entity or a spirit present, and as seen from the astral, then we might have a psychiatric situation. And I don't want to take my team into a psychiatric situation. So I'd be looking, doing a little prying on that one. So then we have, after scene assessment, which is what that falls under, you would have client initial counseling and interviews and the scene walkthrough. Next, you'd have the medium walkthrough, pass over any spirits, identify any other issues. Astral team combats any leftovers, entities, closes any portals, that kind of thing. And then you got the astral team, they set up the initial shielding. Once they set up the initial shielding is when the physical team comes in, and that's where we set up barriers around the property. Using stones, using herbs. For example, if you plant a rosemary plant outside your home, it will keep negative entities from coming in. Just a little FYI for you. Last step is scene defense and cleansing. House cleansing and blessing based on client's religious preference. Team walks any outside property, places the wards and shields. And then you have client education. Client taught any additional education on cleansing and shielding. Any final counseling is done. Ensure the client feels safe. Make sure the client has our card, an easy way to contact us should the need arise. Last step is wrap up. That's where the team rallies back to headquarters, which is right here. Team checks for attachments, shields still intact, equipment check and restock. After action and coffee. I think that's my best part. That's my favorite part. That's where we actually sit there and sit down and drink coffee and unwind, basically. Discuss any improvements we could do or could have done, things of that nature. That's basically how the QRT is going to run. Now, some things we're looking at. And if you guys have any input, by all means, jump on the chat and give your input. So some scientific areas that we're looking at is ley lines. We want to be able to show how ley lines interact with the Earth. And Markham's working on some scientific areas to show that. With that, we're going to take, and I think we've already talked about this on the show before, but for anyone new, we're basically going to take the EMF meter concept, run it through a satellite with a laser, and see if we can't show UFOs interfering with ley lines. And if that's the case, they can be tracked. That's part of the QRT as well, is if we have crash landing sites, if we have UFO sightings, if we have cryptid sightings, if we have cases where a client is being scratched or bitten, which we just recently had one, but they were too far away from the QRT response, so I had the Astral team handle that. But we're also going to take the same satellite and see about running a microphone through it. And for example, up here in the mountains, a while back we had, I don't think there's been anything recent, but a while back we actually had a case of vibrations or a humming or a tone sound. And it was a 20-mile radius. I mean, it was a 20-mile stretch. So in those cases, I love to be able to, pinpoint that, see what it is. Is it government? Is it alien? I kind of lean towards the latter, alien. That's just me. Anyone got any issues? Anyone got any comments? Anything to add to the code of conduct that you think I missed? And are you still here? So that about sums it up for tonight. Again, Paracon, September 23rd. And yeah, Corey, it was a pulsing hum. I know I know you heard it, and you live in town, so I haven't seen anything responding, anyone responding on the group about it. But again, you can find Forest Moon Paranormal on Facebook. Just look for Forest Moon Paranormal, join the group. We also have the second annual Paracon page. You can find that, the Forest Moon Paranormal, second annual Paracon. I'll be talking alien abduction. I'll be talking alien species or alien races at Space Out Radio's Paracon the following week. Again, if you're local, if you live in the Tacoma area, we'll be in the Mystic Sanctuary March 19th, 5:30 p.m. for a basic paranormal class and basic paranormal protection class. So that about sums it up for tonight. We actually did 1 hour. That was cool. We'll have Robert Rose on for next week, next Sunday, and we're actually talking. What are we talking about? Next week, we're talking about. Oh, wait. Yeah, next week we're actually talking about are gods really aliens and where did religion come from? So, y'all have a great week, and I'll see you next week. Thank you for listening.